I'm Gab. He's Jules. Gray skies over Berlin, which is why we're indoors today.
Inside
here at Scaling Spaces, your workspace solution here in Berlin. Jules, we're here.
We are.
We're here. It's quarterfinal time.
Last 8.
We're going to do this thing a little bit differently this show. We're going to look at two quarterfinals even in our A and B segments.
Yeah.
So let's start straight away with the one which I think on paper is the most box office one.
For sure.
And it's Holland. No, just kidding. Spain against Germany. All right, so you have the easy reading is Spain have looked really good.
Yeah.
Although some people feel that they haven't necessarily been challenged. And
That's
even
true.
against Georgia in the last game, it was a little bit hairier than it could have been. Sure, I mean, they didn't lose their cool, and they came back. They scored their goals. But if Kvaratskhelia scores from inside his own half, all of a sudden...
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think if you look at all their team and the strength and the flaws that maybe they had, is defensively, especially as centre-backs, where you think, okay...
Too many French centre-backs.
Maybe, although French centre-backs are great and handsome.
Yeah,
but
Upamecano especially.
But it's true that Lenormand and Laporte, we're not sure. And because they haven't really been tested, then because Italy was not good enough.
By the way, it's really embarrassing that they had the toughest group, Italy and Croatia, and we can legitimately say they haven't been tested because Italy and Croatia were that bad.
Exactly. So let's see. And this is the first big test. And we've said, have they picked too early maybe? We've seen teams in tournaments like that before that were so good in the group stage and then would fall short. I don't know if this Spanish team can be one like that or not, because they've showed a lot of great things with the ball. Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal and Pedri and Rodri, all of that great, but it's still not perfect.
Up against them, a Germany side where Nagelsmann started out with a certain idea, certainly changed it. We saw in the last game. I don't know if his changes have worked. In the sense, they've obviously worked because they've won, but he didn't wipe the floor with Denmark.
No.
It got a little bit... The Switzerland game, in the end, Switzerland's XG was 0.23, so... It's not over-egg Switzerland too much.
Sure.
But equally, he had to make those changes late on, right?
Yeah.
So do we see this as a positive from Nagelsmann? Like, yes, I have the personality and the courage to drop Wirtz, to make these tweaks? Or is it actually, this isn't working?
Yeah, I think he tried something with Sané that didn't work, and I would be very surprised if Sané starts against Spain and not Wirtz. And also, if they want to win that battle in midfield, they need Wirtz there. They need his quality technically. Sané has the pace, great, but you want to be able to keep the ball against the Spanish press, and Sané doesn't do that. This is not what he does. Ball retention from Wirtz is highly superior than ball retention from Sané. So even if Wirtz hasn't been great since that Scotland game, and I wonder if there's room for Musiala and Wirtz to both be great in same games, for obvious reasons, I still think to keep the ball as much as possible, you need Wirtz in that team.
All right, let's talk the other semifinal, Portugal and
quarterfinal,
the quarterfinal even. Portugal and France. Like,
come on!
I'm not going to repeat this endlessly. And everybody loves repeating that stat. 2 own goals, 1 penalty. This is all part of Didier's master plan.
Yes.
Play rubbish football and then win it at the end because you have better players. It worked for him in one World Cup. Should have worked for him at the other World Cup if Mbappe had started playing maybe earlier than the last 10 minutes. France are overwhelming favorites. You're okay with this? You're not worried at all?
Yeah, overwhelming.
He's just going to send on another defensive midfielder in the next game. And
yeah, Camavinga will replace Rabiot, suspended, and then we will have the same 4-3-3 that we saw against Belgium because he loves the defensive solidity, he loves the organization, and hopefully Mbappe will be better.
But
and
it's like
Griezmann
when he went
can
into
impact.
the tournament, Dembele was playing, but then all of a sudden, like, he doesn't love this anymore.
Yeah, because he wants to find the right space for Griezmann and doesn't think and thinks that. Right now, Griezmann did well against Belgium, which I don't think, certainly in possession, you can have Griezmann on the right-hand side and think this is a good idea. Yeah. But again, it shows you that his priority is defensive, and this team is very strong defensively with Griezmann as a right winger than if you put Griezmann somewhere else. So
we're going to come back to this, and I don't want to call him Forrest Gump, because somebody else is Forrest Gump in this scenario.
Okay.
But Portugal... all the focus has been on Cristiano. Should he play? Should he not play? You and I disagree on that a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
So let's save that part for the podcast bit.
Yeah.
But I'll say this about Portugal. I think the pieces are there. They are creating the chances. I think people I think if France stumble, they're more likely to stumble in this game than later in the competition. I don't know if you're on board with that.
Yeah, they're dangerous. And I think, again, defensively, we saw against Slovenia, it was far from perfect. I don't think Pep can play whole 90 minutes, 120 minutes, even with extra time. So this would be interesting. But obviously, talent-wise, this Portugal's team is amazing when you think about the players they have.
All right, Jules, let's break this down, strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Now, Spain, we've mentioned defensively, it's a weakness, and it's not. And I think it's not just Robin Lenormand doesn't play for a big club. Emerick Laporte disappeared to Saudi. Cucurella has funny hair. Ha ha ha. It's the fact that actually when they've played, I mean, Cucurella was maybe better in the first games, and then obviously, but we saw a bit of Grimaldo, but it's the other two. You shouldn't be looking vulnerable against that Georgian French dude. And against Georgia.
The Lenormand own goal is really bad at this level. You
sort your feet out.
And you see the ball coming from that cross from a long way. It's not like if the ball just
doesn't shut it down either.
No, but I think Nico Williams didn't help him, to be fair. It's the right back that crosses the ball, and the right back should have been followed by Nico Williams. But it doesn't matter so much. It was a freak of a goal. But I think you're right, a freak of a goal that shows that maybe not everything is perfect. And the fact that they haven't really been tested, although they gave chances away against Croatia in the first game. In the second half, they gave a penalty away. They gave a couple of Kovacic's chances away. Okay, against Italy, it was different.
Although, what was the score at halftime against Italy?
Yeah, for sure. And Calafiori's own goal was the difference really in the end.
And if Baldi says, oh, look, it's 0-0, but we're really lucky it's 0-0. Let me make some changes to help the team, which, of course, Spalletti did not do. Not that I'm bitter about this.
No, I know. And then the third game, it was a B team, and they won, obviously. They won 1-0, but yeah, so I think it's going to be very interesting to see. And for me, just on the matchup defensively, it's a bit the same for Germany because, okay, we've seen Rudiger and Ty being quite good the first two games. Then Ty missed the Switzerland game where really they were under pressure massively, Germany, in that game. And Kimmich at right back, great in possession, but against Nico Williams, this is where, for me, the game could be won or lost for either Germany or Spain.
That is going to be, I think, one of the key battles to the game. I wonder how you resolve that. Do you get Andrich to come across and help? I mean, that would be the obvious one. But then this guy's already been booked in the tournament.
Yeah.
Which has a tendency to do that. And also, do you discombobulate your team because you're so terrified of Nico Williams' pace? I mean,
that's the key, I think. And I was at the Bernabeu when Real Madrid played Bayern Munich in the Champions League semi-final second leg, when Vinicius literally tore apart a poor Joshua Kimmich who was playing at right back and just didn't want to be there. And I just want, Nico is not Vinicius, obviously, and this Spanish team is not this Real Madrid version. But in one-on-one situation between a player like Vinicius or Nico with all that pace and all those skills and can go inside and outside and can do a lot of things, and Joshua Kimmich, who can do a good job at right back, but is not a right back, I think that could be quite brutal. Whether Rudiger has to come across or Andrich, this will leave space somewhere else for other Spanish players anyway.
Is there an issue on the other flank as well, where, I mean, you happen to be wearing a Lamine Yamal shirt today?
Yes, indeed.
Obviously, Nico's kind of stolen the headlines, if you will, but it's not like Lamine Yamal is a schlub either.
No. And
again, I don't know if it's going to be Raum or Mittelstadt. Raum, especially defensively, does not excite me.
I know, and you're right. And I think at least they are real left backs or proper left backs and proper defenders. But it's a challenge, maybe even more than Musiala against, whoever, Carvajal or Lenormand, wherever he plays and pops up. Or even on the other side, for Germany attacking, I think, again, Lamine and Nico against Kimmich and Raum, because I think it would be Raum, would be huge.
All right, let's talk further up the pitch. In terms of the midfield battle, high possession from Spain so far. Fabian, Rodri, and Pedri have all looked good.
Yeah.
Germany have the ballers. Well, they've got two of them. The third guy's Andre, who, by the way, isn't terrible in possession.
No.
He's got, he just kind of looks like a thug, right? Should you drop Gundogan deeper? Might we see something like that so he can help out? Because I don't like the idea of Toni Kroos running himself into the ground, chasing around.
No, you're right. But I think more than never in this
Because you're not going to
tournament.
get help in the build-up from the center backs. You can get it from Kimmich, but the only help you're going to get, if you really, because what you're saying about like, oh, keep possession, right?
Yeah.
Assuming that's what Germany wants to do, because you could also make the argument, let's just play on the counter, right? We've got the best on earth up front. We have, maybe Sané's speed. You don't like Sané. Musiala's not a slouch either.
Yeah. I just wonder.
Do you
certainly
drop
at the
Florian
start.
Wirtz in there, like you were alluding to before?
Yeah. I think you need Wirtz there to get that midfield control, certainly. And then I wouldn't be surprised if at the beginning of the game, certainly they play just a bit long on Havertz, just to get the ball into the Spain half, and then use their pressing to try to get the ball off Spain quite higher on the pitch. Because if they start to, I know, but if they play out from the back, like they try against Switzerland, for example, who have this very strong pressing structure in place already that we've seen against Italy too, and Germany's really struggled, then I think you can invite too much trouble for you if you try to do that against the Spanish team that presses really well. And Pedri is here really just to press more than anything else almost. So I would not do that if I was Nagelsmann, certainly at the start of the game. But then if you try, you've got more chances to do so if you've got Gundogan, like you said, dropping a bit deeper and almost having like a Kroos, Andrich and Gundogan midfield. Even if that means Havertz is a bit isolated up front at the start of the game, it's not a problem. Just don't invite the pressure too early.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I don't have an issue with Havertz being isolated.
No,
Dude,
no.
You've been telling us you can play center forward. You've been proving people wrong that you are a center forward.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do that. Look who you're up against, right? With all due respect to Robin and Emmerich and Cuckoo. Portugal and France. All right, the big talking point is Cristiano, and we have to talk about him. I think we know the view. My view.
Did you like the tears after the penalty missed? How did you feel about the tears, the crying?
The guy's showing some humanity. I was on the FC show that night, and they're all slaughtering him. I was like, dude, it's not like Cristiano saying, I better go and like pretend I'm crying now, right? No, that was real. Whenever an athlete shows his true side, I don't think it's an issue. I think those Portugal people are saying, but then his teammates are going to lose faith in him. I mean, first of all, his teammates are grown up. First of all, his teammates spend a lot of time with Cristiano. They know everything about Cristiano, good and bad. And it wouldn't surprise them that the guy's crying. I would assume so.
He's
right?
cried before.
He's cried
times,
before.
So it's not new.
I didn't think it was a big deal. Dude, you're showing some humanity. We're beyond the macho jock phase,
I know, but
right?
it's not like if that was the penalty that ended the game and meant it was a defeat for Portugal. There was still a lot of minute to be played.
So what? He didn't choose
no,
to
but
cry.
like,
he didn't choose. This is what gets me.
No,
the man did not choose to cry.
I know, but still, it's just like, okay. Anyway, I prefer people showing emotions.
Thank you.
On the football pitch and everywhere else than not showing emotions.
The easy question is, should Cristiano start? Because a lot of people say, no, Gonzalo Ramos, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to quickly lay out my argument, then you can tear it down. Cristiano should start. He should start because this is the plan. This is what Roberto Martinez has set up. This is what they did throughout qualifying when they did really well, albeit they were kind of in a Muppet Show group. But still, this is what you're set up to do. It's not like I have Marco van Basten on the bench. I have Gonzalo Ramos on the bench. I am not a Gonzalo Ramos guy. In the current iteration, I think his football is very different from Cristiano's. If the pieces around him are used to playing with Cristiano, then I don't see that you get the benefit of this adjustment suddenly playing with Gonzalo Ramos. You don't have time during a tournament to work on something different. And finally, it's freaking Cristiano, okay? Do you want to invite the chaos and controversy and whatever else if you drop him again? I don't think so.
No, I mean, this debate is useless, right? Because we know he's going to start. So we can talk as much as we want about it and what we would do if we were Roberto Martinez. It will start.
Well, but
the only thing I would say,
we thought he was going to start at the World Cup, but then eventually, like his God, the Master of Darkness, Fernando Santos,
we saw it coming a little bit. Right. It's not coming this time.
All right.
But what I would say, the slight difference I have with you is that I'm not sure he can play 90 minutes at this level, with this intensity, with the physicality that the French will put in that game. As we saw against Slovenia, where he misses that chance in the 90th minute, a chance that he scored like 1,000 times in his career, that left foot one-on-one almost with Oblak, that he fluffs completely, because I just don't think fitness-wise and in terms of sharpness he was there then. Then he missed the penalty in extra time for the same reasons. So I think you start him, but maybe you take him off after 70 minutes just
when
to
you're
bring
2 or 3 goals up against France.
No, but even if it's 0-0, because it showed against Slovenia that the thinking about he has to play the whole game because he can be decisive at any time, while he wasn't against Slovenia.
No, yeah, I think we've gone past that. I think you just have to measure him how he is, and you have to talk to him, and you say, Cristiano. And look, again, people say, oh, an athlete's always going to tell you that he's confident. And I said, no, I think actually we've moved beyond that. I would say the
maybe.
1980s are over. The guy knows his body really, really well. And you, Roberto Martinez, who's been coaching for 20-odd years, you and him need to have this open dialogue. And based on what you perceive and what he tells you, you have to be brave to make that decision if you think he's losing something on the pitch physically. It goes even more so, doubly so, for Pepe, or Pep, as we like to call him now. That nearly cost him the game.
Yeah.
How Sesko missed that. I don't know if it's cruel to just dump him now and bring in Gonzalo Inacio, or Antonio Silva hasn't been great when he has played. No. I do wonder, maybe Inacio is a better match for the French strikers. Maybe
for Thuram, or maybe we've seen a back three at times with Roberto Martinez, even in this tournament. Maybe there's something there, and that protects Pep much more, obviously, than if he just plays in a flat back four with just him.
Who do you drop then?
Well, that's the thing, because I think you need Palhinha there. So maybe I think Rafael Leao was the one that was missing out the last time. As much as I love Rafael Leao,
come on, that's not be silly.
No,
well, no, I'm sorry, because if you drop Rafael Leao,
if you drop
Rafael Leao, sorry, but if you drop it, like I know, but this is my message.
Well, yeah, but like exactly,
you want to drop Rafael Leao from this team. Cristiano becomes the fastest player in your final third because you have little Bruno, little Bernie, who's runs a lot but doesn't move very quickly. Sure. You have Cristiano, nearly 40 years of age. Yeah. Surely, look, France are going to sit deep, but surely you want the one-on-one threat behind that Rafael Leao, for me, is undroppable. If I want another little guy that can like run around and thread a pass, Portugal has plenty of them.
No, true.
What they don't have is Rafael Leao.
Well, yeah, but we saw Doku against Koundé, and that didn't work out. And maybe
it's a different player, different game.
Doku and Leao are very similar players. They do some very similar things. Bernardo Silva against Koundé, and the skill set that Bernardo Silva has, different to Doku and Leao, which is very similar, might trouble Koundé a bit more because Koundé is all about pace and physicality. That's what he does. So
he's not going to catch Rafael Leao. Come on, man.
He caught Doku really well.
He's not going to catch Rafael Leao. Come on.
Let's see. But then I think it's good. And I think that matchup, whoever plays left against Koundé, Saliba against Cristiano, Mbappe against Joao Cancelo, who should play at right back, really, I think.
Yeah.
Even Griezmann and Nuno Mendes, like I think Griezmann would be there to prevent Mendes to go forward too much, a bit like he did with helping Koundé with Doku. It's gonna be great, and obviously it's Cristiano and Mbappe meeting again, which in itself is the romantic story of this tournament.
I wonder if maybe at some point you pull the emergency brake and wheel out Diogo Dalot for this game.
Oh, you're right.
I mean,
it's a good idea.
The back three option is an interesting one.
It could be.
I wonder if Roberto has the cojones to do that. Maybe. Finally, the other issue with France, very simply.
Any issues with France?
Yes, I will tell you what the main issue for me is. Given the way France play, so if they concede first, which can happen because Mike is magic, but he's not invulnerable. Whatever, Upamecano, you make a mistake, somebody shoots him 40 yards. A lot of individual match winners. Yeah. What does the plan become? Does the plan become put on Giroud, the very handsome Giroud, and lump balls to his head?
I don't know, because then you have Barcola and Dembele on the bench. And you've got Coman, who's back from having his fourth kid at 28 years old. You have
a lot of fast.
You have Colomwani, who came on against Belgium to make a difference. Okay, he got lucky on his goal, but at least he brings that energy. He's got Deschamps' trust.
But it does become Lumpo, right?
Well, no, if he's Dembele, Barcola. If he's Giroud, maybe, but not if he's Dembele or Barcola.
So what, you just bring in the fat? Yeah, okay, but like if the other team then sits deep.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like,
for sure.
What they don't have space to run into anyway. So
true. No, that's true. I think it's going to be fascinating. I don't think right now in Deschamps' mind and the way he's preparing for this game,
they're ever going to concede a goal. So.
Well, certainly not first. But we'll have to see. I think it will be very much, let's make sure we don't concede first and then try to make something happen.
All right, we're hyped and amped, as you can tell, for these semifinals. Quarterfinals, even. All right, Jules, we got more quarterfinals. Yes. Let's do this. England against Switzerland and Holland against Turkey. Let's start with England and Switzerland. Yeah. Easy perception. Reading the media. Yeah. Gareth Southgate's a mug. He's done everything wrong.
Well, he has.
Murat Yakin's a genius. He's done everything right.
He has.
This game's going to be really close.
It will be. I think perfect. Let's move on to. No, I think this is great because everything Switzerland has in terms of organization and structure, and I said that on the FC show yesterday, and producer Freddie has already heard it, and I'm just going to repeat it again. Everything they have and how well they've drilled and how well their structure is in place in terms of pressing, in terms of build-up phases, in terms of knowing exactly what to do and where in that kind of 3-4-3, 3-5-2 formation, it depends who plays up front, is great. And that's everything England don't have. England have more individual brilliance, for sure. If you go like player for player, Switzerland don't have a Bellingham, they don't have a Kane.
I think the combined 11 is probably 9-2 or something.
But for a tournament like this, would you go with individual brilliance, or would you rather have that kind of collective strength that the Swiss have? I would always go for the collective strength. And that doesn't mean Switzerland are going to win and win easy. Because as we saw against Slovakia, England can find something from nowhere, like the Jude Bellingham goal. But Switzerland have been really impressive as a team so far this season, this tournament, when England have showed nothing collectively at all.
Yeah, look, it's obviously England have looked really, really poor in this tournament. I am also not one of those people who thinks that, oh, look, they looked really rubbish in past tournaments too, but look, they did really well, which is also true, right? And we know
not as bad as this, though. Not as bad as this, no.
Yeah, maybe not as bad as this. Yeah, I would agree with that. I also think this group's probably better, at least, certainly in the front four.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder, though, is Southgate going to actually worry about it? Or is he just going to say, I'll just stay solid? It's Switzerland. At some point, Kane, Bellingham, Saka, somebody's going to win this game for me.
Yeah, he can do that, although the talks that he can move to a back three just to match the Swiss formation.
Because he has so many talented centre backs?
Well, especially with Gay.
And with Gay out, yeah.
So I guess Konsa can play there, and Stones and Walker, and then you play somebody right wing back like Trent, and then I guess only Saka can play left wing back. I think it would be a little bit of
Saka's doing cartwheels at that prospect.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. Right. This is I guess a possibility. There's always a thing that you could do, but I would tend to agree more with you that I'm not sure he's the kind of head coach to change much. And then trust what he has, because there's also, you can also see in another way, Gabby, by saying they are still too good to keep playing that bad. And there will be a point where, and I thought, to be fair, I thought it was against Slovakia where they're going to raise their game and play much better, and they didn't. But it could well be this game.
I also think on the physical intensity side, Freuler and Xhaka and Ebischer, they all looked unplayable against Italy and against, some of the other, and in some of the group games.
Yeah.
But even against Scotland, who physically can match up a little bit, there wasn't this big gap. England can certainly, I don't know if they're going to look as fast or as intense against England, if at least the England midfield provides that quickness and that intensity. Holland and Turkey, I was at the Turkey-Austria game.
Yeah, you loved that, didn't you?
Oh, it was remarkable. It was remarkable because Austria had been everybody's darling, and Turkey showed, you know what? You come and you press the crap out of us. And Christoph Baumgartner, it's amazing to see what this guy can do.
Yeah.
When you figure, who are you? I'm Christoph Baumgartner. And you look like a poor man's Jude Bellingham on the night. Right? I mean, everywhere. However, what do you do against the press? You mix it up. Sometimes I'll play long. Sometimes I'll try to play through it. Sometimes I'll just give the ball to Kenan Yildiz or Arda Güler, have them run with it, wait for them to be fouled. And I'm just going to take the sting out of the game. And it's easier to do, obviously, if you score first. And he moved to a back
50
three.
50 seconds.
And he moved to a back three for this game. But surely that's the recipe against a pressing team. So they can do that. Ronald Koeman's Holland, he definitely not a pressing team. He even boasted about, Louis van Gaal was defensive too.
Yeah.
Yes, now that's the benchmark. Late stage Van Gaal. That's who you want to be, Ronnie. But then again, they whooped Romania. Are you impressed?
Yeah, I just thought they gave the response that we expected from them. And Romania was probably too naive the way they just approached that game, and the Dutch are just
not
used
individually
it.
good.
Yeah, maybe. but again, when you score after 20 minutes and that Cody Gakpo goal is a good goal, it's much easier for you after that. And to be fair, the Dutch should have scored maybe 5 or 6. Yeah. But this is not going to be the same. And I like the resilience from Turkey that you mentioned. I also like the kind of dynamic that the Dutch have going into this game.
All right, Jules, let's break this down further, and let's be negative mainstream media. If we were to just point out weaknesses, England and Switzerland. Let's start with Switzerland's weaknesses. For me, having seen them play twice in person in this tournament. Well, we mentioned earlier how I don't know if Schock and Freuler. I mean, they look like they're bionic. But they're not really.
True.
They might not be against a team that I think matches up really well with them physically.
But a team that's played extra time.
I didn't think they played extra time 3 days ago, but they're professional athletes.
Yeah, true.
The strikers, Briel and Bolo can mix it up a little bit. He's the kind of striker where like the ball bounces off him and stuff. Even when I see him in person, I thought, dude, didn't you used to be quick?
Yeah, he's still strong and quite quick, but he can't finish.
Yeah, he's quick like the way Lukaku used to be quick.
Yeah, they don't. Him do. Don't finish. Okay.
And the other guys, you know, Ndoye is legit fast.
Like Vargas as well. Vargas
has a little bit of quality too, but it's nothing Kyle Walker and those guys haven't seen before.
No, but then Slovakia had nothing, no more firepower than Switzerland, and it literally destroyed them for most of that, especially in the first half.
Well, no, but
so your Kyle Walker can deal with that. Well, he could not deal with the Slovakian attackers. So
but that was Stefan Schranz, wasn't it?
Yeah, Schranz was even on the other side.
Top scorer in the tournament.
3 goals, indeed, yeah.
And then I would throw in defensively. I know everybody's praised Akanji, and Akanji's the big name at the back.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. I don't think Cher's having a great tournament. And I'm also, and the problem with Ricardo Rodriguez is that, you know, I love it because in teams like Switzerland, you see these players who, Rodriguez is older.
Yeah.
Even when he was younger, he wasn't quick.
Nope, definitely not.
He has a wand of a foot.
Yep.
And he's big and strong.
Yep.
But obviously, people running at him.
True.
I actually think, I mean, maybe part of the reason my impression of Shah is what it is I think a lot of times Akanji has to come, had to come over and help on that side. So these are areas that England can exploit.
Yeah, I think they can, but also they're so strong collectively that everything seems to be compensated somewhere. So I've been really, really impressed. And if Germany, with all the talent that they have and being a much better team than England, can't really break them down.
You think Germany are a much better team than England?
In this tournament? Yeah. I mean, in this tournament, Germany is not. No, but Germany is a much better team in this tournament than England have been, and they struggled to break down this Swiss team. And the game had a different vibe to it because Germany were the favorite and they were home, etc. So this would be different. But I just think it's hard to play against this Swiss team. I really do, and unless you have a clear plan, which I'm not sure Southgate can come up with.
England weaknesses. We did Swiss weaknesses.
Yeah.
England weaknesses. Other than the generic, they're not playing well.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously. And the generic, like Gareth Southgate's on the bench and he's too conservative.
Yeah.
In terms of individual situations, what are you taking? We're taking for granted that Ezri Konsa is going to play?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Whether it's a back four, back three,
which is kind of being thrown at the deep end. He hasn't really played at this high level too often.
Not really. Or he's played at right back, or or he came on late against Slovakia in that kind of back three.
Right.
Weird because you had obviously all those attacking players on the pitch at the time.
Is Trippier a weakness?
I think he is. Yeah, he hasn't been great defensively or offensively. I think Walker was all over the place against Slovakia.
Yeah, Walker's not been great.
Good
I think it's been hit or miss. I also don't know because to some degree Southgate does that weird thing. Not weird because Pep does it too, right? Where he gets his back four to kind of sit and not participate in the attack as much. And maybe the idea is thinking like, all right, so that way we won't be caught high up against the pitch against Ndoye and Vargas and whatever. But I don't know if Walker's super comfortable with that, even though it happens because at City, because they have different players and they have long stretches of possession and they're much more incisive going forward than England has been.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see really what Southgate does, whether again he changes tactically or not, and how they approach this game. I would think that England are going to be very cautious at the start, and so they should, and then see how the game goes after half an hour, at half time, at the start of the second half. Because right now they just have zero certainties at all, and a lot of people make this Swiss team favorite, which I think is a bit.
It's a bit over the top. Everybody wants to appear clever.
It is, but Foden hasn't been playing well. Saka hasn't been playing well. Bellingham and Kane haven't been playing well. Certainly not together. By moment, yes, brilliance there and there, sure, but overall it hasn't been good enough. And even for Mainu and Rice together against Xhaka and Freuler, this is going to be against a key battle.
All right, Holland and Turkey. I'll start out with the potential weaknesses. So I think there's Çalhanoğlu coming back is obviously a strength. He's your captain. He's arguably your most reliable player.
Yeah, he is.
But it does open up a little something where I thought without Çalhanoğlu, I felt like a lot of the younger players had to step up. Çalhanoğlu and I'm blanking on his name, but the defender was also suspended in that game.
Abdelkarim?
Yes. They're coming back. We probably won't see back three. Or he might be tempted to go back three again because, you know, Montella's Neapolitan. He's a little superstitious here, right? Demirad's got the hot hand, right?
True. Very true.
I do think what's critical for them is if Holland sit, as they often do, and I think they often need to do, because that midfield isn't the greatest in terms of playmaking.
Yeah, that's true.
Then Turkey can say, hey, what? We're gonna sit too. And we're gonna try to make things happening through individuals.
Yeah.
Well, we'll send Arda Güler to invent, and then you're gonna use fouls on him, or Kenan Yildiz, or Barış Yilmaz.
Yeah.
I think Montella, we've seen him. He can make decisions which are surprising. I mean, Aktürkoğlu benching him.
I know.
It's not something that you would have expected. You would have expected him to be an automatic choice, right?
Yeah.
Qualitatively, we give the edge to Holland.
Yeah,
but it's not a huge edge because
I don't
these
think
guys
so.
are so inconsistent.
Yeah, they are very much so, and you don't know. And I think even the Dutch guy said yesterday, I'm not really sure what Netherlands team is going to show up against Turkey. If it's going to be
encouraging to hear.
I know. Imagine that. A great message sent to your dressing room. But is it the one against Romania on the front foot that did well, that should have scored more, but created at least and had more of that kind of impetus that they didn't have before, or the ones that we saw so disappointing against Austria, where they were all over the place, especially defensively, Van Dijk and the Rice, them two especially. So we will have to see. I like a lot of the things that I saw from Xavi Simons. Memphis hasn't been great.
Simons has to play.
Yeah. Simons will play. He will play again the 4-4, I suspect.
Yeah, it's got to be that. No more of the stupid 4-3-3.
No, I don't think so.
Austria.
And again, against a team like Turkey that are going to sit a bit deeper, I think he has to. Whether it's Reinders and Schouten or Veerman comes in for one of them too, I think you have to go for it.
What I find is going to be tricky for them is where is the playmaking coming from if they sit? That midfield, and obviously we know who's not there, De Jong and coal miners, whatever. I don't know. Reinders is not that sort. He's a great player, but he's not that sort of player. Reinders in a 2 for me is a question mark.
Yeah.
You're putting a lot of onus on Xavi Simons to create. You know, Gakpo's not going to go in those kinds of runs.
No. But then maybe Memphis can drop and a little bit more, and Memphis and Xavi can cause problem to the Turkey defense by having that kind of freedom, and then whoever plays on the right, Bergwijn or you would think that Malen after the 2 goals, even if they're late, in his 45 minutes of that second half, did better than Bergwijn in his own 45 minutes from the first half.
I wonder, how do coaches judge this? Because then I look at what Malen did against Austria, where he gifted a goal to the opposition and he missed a sitter. Because this is the other thing. We talk about tactics and systems, and this coach is good, this coach is bad. Holland still have a lot of really good players.
Yeah.
Even in that Austria game, I was there. Austria fully deserved it. But Holland gifted them a goal. Holland missed. Depay missed a sitter.
Yeah.
Malen missed an enormous sitter.
Yeah.
You know, you go to the net, kind of positive, the net chances, whatever, in that. And Holland, despite not playing well, win that game because they have better players.
Yeah.
And they certainly, I don't think if you were to do combined 11 Holland and Romania, I don't know if any Romanian players get in.
Not.
And if you were to do it with Turkey, it's not going to be many.
No, you're right. That's true. That's why I think they are slightly favourite. But they will have the stadium against them to start with, because the Olympic Stadium in Berlin is going to be red far more than orange. And that also might play a big role.
All right, enough Euros. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
The United States lose 1-0 to Uruguay and are out of the Copa America. Jules just raises questions over the future of Greg Berhalter as the USSF say they will conduct a comprehensive review.
Yeah, I think the review is fair. This is a massive failure, let's be honest. I know it's only the top 2 that qualify for the quarterfinal. There's not like best third place in the group like we can see at the Euros here, for example. But in a group with Panama and Bolivia, the other team outside of you and Uruguay, you have to qualify. And we can look at the team where red card, of course, against Panama and that defeat. You can look at the offside.
On him. Former Paris Saint-Germain guy, right?
No.
It's got to be a team
but I think Craig Berhalter has made some mistakes as well. I think there's a lot of things I didn't understand in the Uruguay game when you knew that Panama would beat Bolivia, and then that meant the US had to win against Uruguay. He didn't do changes early enough. He was even the giving away to the players the score of the. I mean, there's so many things that he did wrong, I think. Is that enough to sack him now after getting him in that team not that long ago? I don't know, because you can't start again so close to the World Cup.
There's rumors of Jurgen Klopp, because the last time the U.S. had a German guy named Jurgen in charge, that worked out really well.
Well, exactly, yeah. I don't know. I think it's a real shame what's happening, though. And speaking of Uruguay, Gabi, they will take on Brazil, who only drew 1-1 with Colombia the other night to finish second in the group. How is the Seleção looking?
I thought they're looking really good. First of all, Colombia looked really sharp in this tournament. James turning back the clock.
What's going on there?
He hits set pieces. He's got you give him time on the ball, he destroys you. That said, this game has to come with an asterisk because the penalty, I think it was Munoz on Vinicius, 100%. You have VAR.
Yeah.
And the penalty's not given. And then CONCACAF came out, or CONMEBOL, CONMEBOL, I assume.
Yeah.
So, we made a mistake. VAR made a mistake. Now, I don't have issues with admitting mistakes, but you need to explain to me exactly how the mistake came about. If it's just a mistake of judgment, are you going to go and throw this VAR under the bus? I don't know, but the upshot is obviously Brazil finishing second, tougher route to the final.
And Vinicius suspended for that quarterfinal as well.
And Vinicius now suspended, yeah. Rafinha, by the way, great goal.
Yeah.
Argentina face Ecuador also in the quarterfinals. Jules, I assume that Lionel Messi fella will be back?
Well, it seems that it's still doubtful. Yeah, that's why ESPN are reporting on Thursday morning. So
you have Lautaro, so you don't really need
Lautaro on fire at the moment. You still need Messi in your team because Ecuador have played well in this tournament so far. Manchester United have made nearly 25% of their workforce redundant. We knew they would cut some jobs, but that's a lot of them, Gab. And the other big news of the day is that Erik ten Hag has extended his contract for an extra year.
Yeah, they made 25% of their workforce redundant, and one of those redundancies is not Erik ten Hag.
Somehow.
He gets a one-year extension. Okay, so there's two schools of thought. I don't see the point of giving him a 1 year. My first instinct was, why would you possibly be giving this guy a 1 year extension?
Yeah, me too.
This whole thing about, oh no, because the manager needs to have authority over the players. It's all nonsense. It's not how you get authorities by having a long contract. It's been explained to me, actually, that this may have to do with the fact that because he's getting his pay cut, because he didn't qualify for the Champions League, up there with a lot of the squad, this is a way of essentially paying him less for the next 2 years.
That's right.
Which I didn't fully follow, but hey, whatever. I mean, look, he's staying 1 year, 2 years.
It doesn't change much, to be fair.
The 25% of the workforce, United have more than 1,000 people working for them, which is a ton for a football club.
It's the club with the most employees everywhere.
You know, the Glazers have a reputation for being really good and running a tight ship.
Yeah.
They didn't fire all these people. In fact, they hired all these people. I was wondering if the Glazers aren't like, oh yeah, hey Jim, why don't you go be the bad guy hatchet man? No, but he's already done these things like no working from home, coming to the office.
Yeah, tidy the office as well. The office was a mess. Tidy the office.
I mean, hey, if this makes them better, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Let's see.
The João Palhinha move to Bayern is finally complete a year after it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Jules, does 50 million sound right to you? And do you think they told Palhinha that Thomas Tuchel is no longer there?
Well, I hope so.
Well, because he seems to be more like a Tuchel guy
than a company
guy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We don't hate him as much as our friend Ryan O'Hanlon hates him.
No, that's
true. He absolutely eviscerated him in his column.
That's very true. I find this really interesting. And maybe company has realized that you also need a bit of an enforcer there outside of your ball playing 6s or 8s and midfielders and anything you want. So why not? 50 million seems a lot of money for a player of like Palhinha's skill set and talent, I guess, in a way. But we'll
I wonder how they're going to line up because you got Lime. I mean, I suppose it's going to be 4-3-3.
You would think so, yeah.
I just, you've got Pavlovic there. You've got, I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting. Yeah, it'd be really, really interesting. Going back to Manchester United, Gab, as we said, they're letting a lot of people go, but they're also hiring. And not just the extension to Erik ten Hag, but Christopher Vivel is joining from Chelsea as a recruitment specialist.
Yeah. So he joined Chelsea as a
Only a year ago, yeah.
recruitment specialist, I think a year ago.
Oh, yeah?
And of course, they had all these other people there at Chelsea. Win
Yeah.
Stanley and Lawrence Stewart and Shields came in and whatever. So I don't really know what he actually did. I mean, I think his title might have been technical director, whatever.
Yeah.
I believe United have Jason Wilcox for that.
Yeah, true.
And of course, your friend Omar Barada's there.
Yeah.
Dan Ashworth will be on his way. I guess
Arriving.
there's no such thing as too many cooks boil the broth, I suppose. The upshot here is obviously everybody's reporting that it's with Dan Ashworth's blessing that he's coming.
You would think so.
And also Newcastle reportedly close to picking up Paul Mitchell.
Yeah.
Who's another one of those gurus, all these sort of Red Bully, Monaco-y
true.
type,
Yeah,
Southampton-y type guys. We'll see how it works out. Gefren Turam to Juventus is done, Jules. And what a
my
tasty
boy.
midfield he'll form with Douglas Luiz and maybe Théo Koopmeiners too.
Yeah.
But we're not going to see him for France at the Olympics.
No, it's a real shame. I think Thierry Henry is gutted to lose him, and I think Kefren is gutted not to go to the Olympics after doing the kind of preparation for 3 weeks now almost. This is it. Juventus said, "You come to us, but you don't go. We need you for preseason."
Okay, how about we make it a condition? Otherwise, I don't come.
No, I know, but still,
You want to pay me less? Pay me less.
I just think it's a nonsense. But anyway, it doesn't matter so much. His dad left Juventus in 2006. And now we've got another Thuram with his name on the shirt in 2024. So
Juventus v Inter, Thuram v Thuram.
Yeah, and I think Kefren will get to a new level, another level with Thiago Motta as coach.
It's a good thing.
He's such a Thiago Motta player.
Lilian Thuram has a woman's name because he's going to be like Mama Kelsey, right? In the Super Bowl.
Well, it's not a woman's name. Lilian?
What, Lilian?
No, Lilian is not Lilian.
I don't know.
Definitely not. Nicolo Zaniolo is on his way back to Serie A. Gab, can he relaunch his career with Atalanta?
I don't know. He didn't relaunch much at Villa last year. He needs to stay fit. Obviously, like if you're an Italy fan, you can hang on to whatever you have. You know, when it comes to wingers and stuff, it's basically Chiesa when he's fit, which is almost never, and not much else. Sorry, Zaccagni, El Shaarawy, whatever. Italy missed Zaniolo, I thought.
I think
at the Euros could have given you something, but the dude needs to stay fit. And look, he's big and strong. That's why he's hurt all the time. I'm like, if he's big and strong, shouldn't he be fit all the time? I don't get it. It is a big investment for Atalanta, but they were able to rehabilitate the Prince, Charles de Ketelaere.
Exactly.
It was
Why
him
not?
too.
Yeah.
Stefano Pioli is back in a job a few weeks after being let go by Milan. He'll move to El Ittihad to replace Marcelo Gallardo, or Marcelo Gallardo, as I like to say in Argentina. Jules, your thoughts? And also, what's up with Gallardo? Could he be making more dumb career decisions?
Well, he got sacked mostly because him and Karim didn't get on. And I don't think that went down well at El Ittihad. I mean, Pioli, we like him as a coach, no problem. Why is he going to Saudi now? That's I find that a bit disappointing.
He turned down jobs in Europe for years.
I know, but so what? Just take a sabbatical. Just take a year where you just watch football, spend time with your family, and then come back in Serie A or somewhere in another big league.
In France. Go back to France. That's where they think you're really good. Go to France. Go to France.
I mean Pioli. Yeah, not Gallardo. Gallardo, I don't know now.
Pioli.
Yeah, for Pioli. Why?
Yeah, but Pioli wants to get paid.
No, I don't. I'm not on with that at all. Gab, who is Richard Bredis? Bredici? And what are we talking about him? I don't even know where it's coming from.
I had no idea who he was, but I discovered that he used to be a City performance analyst under Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
He later followed Vincent Kompany to Anderlecht and Burnley, and he got a 12-month ban because he was betting on transfers, betting on Manchester City games.
That's so bad.
Guys, you're not going to get away with it. Cut it out.
Yeah.
Jules, you love the Iliman Ndiaye story.
Yes.
You must be psyched he's coming back to England and joining Everton for 18 million.
I mean, the guy was a Marseille fan all his life. He finally made his dream move to Marseille last summer and had a terrible season, super poor season. And now Marseille have, in a way, cut their losses, although they're making the same amount of money that they bought him from. So,
is this story real? Like, whose 18 million is it? Is it the Friedkins? Is it 777s? No, it's obviously not theirs.
Yeah.
Is it?
Did they have that in their bank account somewhere? Did they have that?
It certainly can't be the guy who, because this club is definitely Moshiri's club, and it's definitely Moshiri's money.
Yeah, of course.
I
don't know, but he's very happy to go back to England. Just didn't happen for him in Marseille. Sambi Lokonga is being linked to a move to Sevilla, Gab, with Arsenal's blessing. I bet you're going to say that it's a mistake to let him go.
Yes, I will say it's a mistake to let him go, unless Arsenal have something lined up in that defensive midfield position. I think the guy gives you a lot of energy. He runs around. And I think most of all, you need bodies. And in that role, with Thomas Partey being older, with Jorginho being old, and obviously questions about Thomas Partey, which we can't talk about for legal reasons, with Jorginho being older and Jorginho being Jorginho, I think it'd be useful to have him around. But maybe they're going to bring in somebody really good in that role. More Copa America. Venezuela face Canada, Jules. Will the Ale Moreno dream live on?
I would love it for him. Surely it would stop.
Vamos Vino Tinto, no?
For the first time ever, they won their 3 group games. We've never seen anything like this before. From Venezuela, and great. Salomon Rondon is like turning into prime Cristiano up front. Just like, what is going on here? And Canada and our friend Jesse March, who obviously you don't like because of where he went to school, but overall,
it's kind of sad.
I know, we kind of like. Doing a good job now, obviously, in the group that they were in. So this is a really good game because Venezuela are full of confidence, great momentum.
I think we'll have at least one legit underdog in the semifinals,
exactly.
Which is nice.
Absolutely. And Colombia, meanwhile, will face Panama. Gab in their quarterfinal. This one looks far more one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, unless Colombian players start getting themselves stupidly sent off with 18 minutes into the game, I think to me this speaks all Colombia, and they've played really good football. They're exciting to watch.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Mbappe has left Paris Saint-Germain for Lille.
Hey!
It's Ethan Mbappe. And the only reason we're talking about this or care about it is because his brother is relatively famous.
Yeah, quite famous, his brother. Yeah, good luck to him. I mean, I think he would have loved to stay in Paris. Just, I think the PSG just wanted clean slate with the Mbappe camp. I can understand. Now he's going to Lille with Bruno
It's not
Genesio.
really a clean slate because they'll be seeing the Mbappe lawyers daily until this thing is
True,
resolved.
until
now,
they pay
right?
him. Yeah, they still owe him 100 million euros, which is kind of a lot of money, you know. But
And
good
doesn't
luck to
that
Ethan.
woman lawyer represent somebody else who's involved with the club too?
I don't
made
think
that
so.
mistake. All right.
Yeah, no. But it's a. I think that he's going to go to court. So we'll see. But good luck to Ethan. I think it's a good choice, certainly. And I think Bruno Genesio, who's the new Lille coach who replaced Paulo Fonseca, is good with young players. Ethan is really young, so they still it can't be too impatient. He will need a bit of time to get used to being playing in Liga. But I think there's something very interesting there between them two. Alessandro Buongiorno, one of the best names in football, we always say that, has agreed personal terms with Napoli, and now they're just waiting for a deal between the club and Torino. Gab, first piece of the puzzle for this new Napoli team under Conte?
Actually, I would like to think the first piece of the puzzle is Rafa Marin, who plays the same position. I think it's interesting that he's coming in saying, I don't like the center backs. Let's get rid of them. I never want to see Nathan again, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, fine. Buongiorno's going to cost you a lot of money. I think, I don't know, personally, I don't know if he's, when I look at Italy's center backs and I look at the alternatives, if you were to ask me, like, okay, Bastoni or Buongiorno? Calafiori, another guy linked with Arsenal, left-footed center back, which you love so much.
I love.
Or Buongiorno. Scalvini? I don't know. It seems to me,
I'm not sure.
I'm not so sure that.
I agree.
And he is more of the athletic center back than the ball-playing guy. But hey, if that's how they want to spend their money, he's not going to make them any worse. Tell you that much. We talked about this on Monday, but now it has come to fruition. Archie Gray moves to Spurs from Leeds, and Joe Rodon, Welsh legend, goes the opposite way. He was already there on loan.
He was there on loan. Yeah. I think it's a good deal. 40 million is a lot of money. We said that. I love Archie Gray. I've got a lot of time for him.
If you value Joe Rodon at 20 million, then less money.
Yeah, less money, I guess, or even 30 million for Joe Rodon, the Welsh Beckenbauer. Nah, I mean, I think it's a great move for Archie Gray to go to Spurs and work with Ange. I think it's a great move from Spurs and Ange to get a player like him because, yes, he's very young and very raw, but he showed already so many promises that there's definitely a great player in it. And you know that his younger brother, Harry, who is the England 15.
You're going to tell me he's even better than...
Even better than Archie, than his dad, than the granddad, than the uncle, than all the Greys who played.
The uncle is Eddie Gray. He's not going to be better than Eddie Gray.
Watch my words.
Eddie Gray played with Peter Lorimer on the great lead side, and Norman Hunter.
I'm too young for this.
Legs,
I'm
Jack
younger than you. I'm younger than you. I don't know.
I can say one thing about the guy moving the opposite direction. We talked about this before, the swaps, inflated values. My column is up on that. I invite you to check it out. It's really funny because there's certain people who write about transfers who, how can I say this nicely? Who are the people we turn to because they speak regularly to the clubs trust them to put the information out. They're kind of the Woj and Shams, if you will, of football. They've started writing, and Joe Rodon goes blah, 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 in a separate deal. And in a separate deal, Chelsea, have acquired Amari Kellyman or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Guys, the clubs are telling them to write that.
Yeah.
It's not a separate deal when it's the same people negotiating with the same people.
True.
They're negotiating 2 transfers at the same freaking time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't blame them for the club saying, well, technically it's a separate, sure, whatever. But it's not really.
Yeah.
Okay, so just be honest about
true.
that.
That's true. Gab, some troubling news with the second tier, so second division of the women's game in England. Sheffield United have only 2 players under contract and have delayed preseason training, while there's also a problem with Blackburn. What's going on?
Yeah, but Blackburn players are going to be earning minimum wage, and they're on 16 hours a week contract, so I'm assuming they'll have to get second jobs because according to the estimates I saw, they're going to make about £9,000 a year, which is maybe $11,000, something like that. Can't really live on that.
Definitely not.
We also had an issue. The Reading women's team, they withdrew from the championship entirely, and this goes back to something we've talked about what should the model be for the women's game. At this level, they're semi-professional, but then when they move up into the WSL, then they are professional, and then the costs just go up significantly.
Yeah.
And as long as they're being bankrolled by big clubs, that's fine. But when they have to try to make the money themselves to justify it, I don't know. I get a sense the resources are limited. The Blackburn, their stadium, according to Wikipedia, holds 3,000 people for the women's team. You're not going to be able to justify, and presumably have low ticket prices because they want to grow the sport. It's a fine balance to strike, and I wonder if maybe the move to professionalism or even semi-professionalism doesn't come a little bit too quickly. But then at the same time, if you have these teams in the WSL where there's only 12 teams, and there's only 12 teams because there's only 12 teams who can really afford to be professional. That's right. And some of them can't because Sheffield United, as we saw, they went down, and now they're stuck with all this stuff. They're canceling everything. I don't know. I think we have to be open to some sort of super league for the women's game, precisely because it's not organic and bottom up. Once the Premier League clubs got involved, whereas back in the day of Doncaster Bells and Frankfurter FC or whatever it was called, and all those Scandinavian teams that have gone bust because the Barcelonas and the Manchester Cities and the Chelseas, the men's team just started bankrolling them, and they haven't been able to compete. Fine, but that ship has sailed. So I think people need to take a serious look at this. Romania are out of the Euros, Jules, but they leave in the best possible way.
Oh, I love that guy because we've been used to Japan doing that a lot at World Cup, where they just clean the dressing room even cleaner than when they found it on the day of the game. And Romania did exactly that. It was immaculate. It was incredible.
This was the best PR that they could have gotten.
Yeah, of course. And everybody should do that, to be fair. It's nothing like...
I know. Let's go visit the French dressing room after they...
immaculate as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Roma fans are absolutely furious with the club, Gab, and reportedly as well, the club is furious with Adidas, who is their sponsor, because of a new piece of kit. What's going on?
Yeah, so apparently the Friedkins are particularly angry, and they're the ones who did this. So they produced a kit. It's like a junior warm-up.
I saw like vest.
Yeah, which contains randomly, in Roma's colors, for those who don't know, are red and yellow. There's a light blue, or sky blue as they call it in England. In England, obviously, with the weather, they think that's the color of the sky. It's a sky blue sort of band running across it. And those are lots of colors. And so apparently, some were even reporting that they called in their chief commercial and brand officer, who's a guy named Michael Wandel. Hasn't been there very long. Northwestern graduate, I might add. I don't know he's going to be there much longer, given how angry everybody is. Adidas gave the stupidest explanation. They said, no, it's aquamarine. It's not light blue.
But wait, there should not be any sort of blue anywhere on that piece of kit.
No.
Regardless.
It's so stupid. But I'll tell you what, well done the Friedkins for taking this seriously. And, because, look, clubs do this. They love to sell their thing, and they like to get creative. And they do little flourishes. But what really matters is the colors, right?
Exactly.
If Arsenal produced something that was lily white, people would be a little bit annoyed, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And rightly so. Jules, this brings us to an end.
Yeah.
But we're going to be back on Monday when we will have our semi-finalists.
Yes.
Until then, love the game, love your neighbor, love yourself, and a big thank you to our friends at Scaling Spaces, co-working here in Berlin.